Now, it is not a good friend, Paloma, in studio with the Texas City War Memorial Library. I'm going to kick this on the FM. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know and then share this out. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart, and it's 9 o'clock on the dot on a Friday. I have a guest that's in studio. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and we're going to find out everything that she has going on. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. This is Paloma from War Memorial Public Library in Texas City, and I'm really happy to be here with you.
I'm excited you're here. It's been a long time. We walked in, it was like, it's literally been years. We used to hang out all the time. How you been?
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I just had a baby a few months ago. She's 7 months old, so she keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
Among other things, right?
Right. And I know, like, even War Memorial Library came in, all the time, and there's always these things going on, and then kind of was forced to shut down. But what's up with the library? It's a renovated facility. What's going on?
Oh my gosh. So now that we have reopened programs to the public and are now able to invite people into physical programs, even just to use the computers and the meeting rooms in the library, we've been really surprised at how many people and what the response has been to our services and our programming too.
Yeah. And people, they miss the library, right?
Oh, and it's so funny because people walk in and they're shocked because they hadn't been since before the remodel, right? Because the library opened for a brief time before the shutdown, and then people didn't realize we had reopened or that we were inviting people back in. And so now they're, like 2 years later, they're like, wow, the library looks amazing. And we're like, yes, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much brand new. It's like it was renovated, brand new. No one really got to use it. It's still brand new.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what do y'all have going on right now? It's the end of the school year. Summer's coming up.
Yeah, so we are gearing up for our summer reading program, and we've got a lot of programs planned beginning on June 6th, and it runs through August 5th. And so the majority of the programming is for children and teens. So we're going to keep up with our toddler story times on Tuesdays and our preschool story times on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And then on Tuesdays, we'll have programming in the afternoons at 2 p.m. for ages 5 to 8. And then on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. for ages 9 to 12. And we're even going to have teen programming every Friday, every Thursday and Friday. So it's going to be busy this summer.
Yeah, it sounds very busy.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think it was just this past month that we reopened our story times for toddlers and preschoolers, and those babies are ready to be loud and play. And the turnout has been awesome. So we're just really excited for this summer.
Yeah. So my youngest right now, he's 2 years old. And I don't know if, like, the library is when I think of places to take him, the library's last on the list because I think of the library and he's like, you got to be quiet, and that's not necessarily him. He would be ready to turn up and play and have fun, right?
Yeah, and that's what the story times are for. And even the children's department, right? Because kids, they get their whole section of the library to themselves. We've got a lot of interactive things. We've even got tables that they can draw on. Okay. They're covered in paper. They can draw all over the tables. They can play with our toys. I've seen babies crawling around and just having a good time. And it's fine if they babble, even if they scream a little.
Yeah. For you having a 7-month-old, has she experienced the library? Does she like it?
So I haven't brought her to my library, but I have taken her to the library in Houston for Dia de los Niños back in April, and it was fun. She didn't last that long. We took her for a story time, and then she was ready for a nap, but it was a lot of fun.
Yes. Do you read a lot to her?
Yes.
Is it stuff that you like, or is it kids' books? Is it a mixture of both?
It's a little bit of both. When she was smaller, I was doing a lot more audiobooks while I was feeding her and just hanging out with her. And then now that she's gotten to where she can sit up and kind of grab things, I've gotten board books and just let her kind of hold them and watch her trying to put it in her mouth, of course.
Yeah, and he's like, Mommy's a librarian. You're going to be reading everything, right?
Yeah. And it was so much fun when I read her first book. Like, she sat up and just watched me the whole time. I was just kind of like following my finger, like, what's going on? What is this thing?
Yeah. Okay, thinking about yourself, what's the first memories that you have of reading books, or like favorite books, or how far back can you remember? Have you thought about that?
Most of what I remember was kind of like the Beverly Cleary books. With Ramona, the main character, and that was like when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
But I've seen my books from when I was a kid, my old board books, and it's fun to like still have those at my grandma's house because I'm excited to like share those with my daughter.
I think back on some of my first memories, I guess reading myself was like the Bluebonnet books. I think it was like in 3rd grade you were allowed to the Bluebonnet books in Texas, and you get the points, all 20 Bluebonnet books, and then you could. Do they still do that?
I believe so. I believe so, and I know we have the Bluebonnet lists and all of those lists for kids and like suggested reading for like all of the grade levels and stuff.
Yeah. That's one of the first things I remember. But I remember my mom used to read me this book, and I guess it's a popular book, but it's like the one where the little boy grows up and then he takes care of the grandma, or it's not the grandma, but she becomes like an old lady. But it's like, I love you forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom would like cry reading to me. I'm like, Mom, what's
Yeah, I've been in those moments where I'm reading to my daughter, and she's just kind of hanging out, and I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is such a good story.
Okay, so if you're just now joining us, I'm talking to Paloma with the Texas City War Memorial Public Library. They are open, and this summer is going to be very busy. There's stuff for kids, there's stuff for toddlers and children. What about the teens and the adults as well? Is there things coming up for them?
Yes, so on Thursdays and Fridays, there's going to be teen programs. Fridays are board games, and so our teen librarian, Megan, has awesome games from 2 to 4 p.m. on Fridays. Teens ages 12 to 18 can come in, as well as on Thursdays. She's going to have like different types of programs. Like I think the first one is outside. I think it's dodgeball.
Cool.
So that's going to be, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And so those are running all the way through August. And then for adults, we have our summer reading program. And this goes for all age groups. You can log your reading hours and get book prizes and entries into prize drawings as well.
Awesome. Hey, do y'all still have that app where you can watch movies?
Yeah, we do.
What was that called?
Canopy.
Canopy.
Yeah.
I'm writing that one down.
With a K. Canopy with a K.
See, I wouldn't have used the K. Canopy.
And you still have an active library card, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
To be honest, I haven't been pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
Unless it expires.
And
or
you can
anything like
access it through the app. Download it to your phone, put in your library card, and then you can watch all kinds of really awesome like indie movies and stuff. I mean, we've got really good collection on there.
What's the process of getting a movie onto Canopy? Like if I made a movie and I wanted it to be considered to be on there.
I'm not exactly sure because we're not in charge of the app, right? So we just purchase access to it for our library users. So I would reach out to Canopy directly and see what the criteria is.
I just made a note. I'm doing that. I'm going to get my movie on there.
Do it, and then we can show it at the library.
My mind's just blown right now. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. For you, like, can you kind of go through a little bit of your story? Like, what led you to want to go into the path that you have to be a librarian and work in this? And has it always been reading for you, and what kind?
So I have always loved to read, and then as a teenager, I really loved to write, because I read so much. I wanted to write my own stories as well. When I got into college, the major that I had, I double majored in English literature and American studies. American studies required a lot of research, very in-depth work with primary resources. And I visited the archives at UT, the Harry Ransom Center. It's where they keep a lot of archival materials, and used a lot of that in my research papers. And I really loved the library and the archives. And I was like, well, what do I have to do to become an archivist and work in special collections? And so I did that route. I did a lot of internships, volunteering, and work at different special libraries, special collections libraries is what they call them. And then when I got this opportunity in Texas City to work at a public library, I was like, well, that's interesting to do both local history and work with the public. So why not? And I grew to like working with the public even more because the special collections libraries are a little bit more closed off. They do a little bit more work with academic institutions and things like that. But working with the public, it keeps you on your toes, and you get to come up with really creative programming and just creative ways to reach out to the community. And that's what I've really grown to love. And I missed it when I left the library for a short period of time, and I feel extremely lucky to be able to come back and join the same awesome team of librarians and library staff too.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned local history, and I know y'all archive. That's what y'all do there, for Texas City and the area and
Yes.
the county in different ways. I remember learning about some of those things that were going on.
Yes.
What's it looking like right now as
Oh
far as
my
that
gosh,
goes?
it is exciting right now. I'm actually working with our local history librarian Teresa to finalize work on our digital archive, where we've got Tech City High School yearbooks digitized, directories for Texas City and Lamarck, and what else? Oh, oral histories. And we completed the African American Oral History Project.
Yes.
And so we're going through the process of reviewing the transcriptions that were done. So one person does the transcription, another person goes through and checks their work, and then we have to go through and pull out keywords and items that we believe people would be searching for when they listen to these oral histories, or they'd be interested in hearing about in these oral histories.
What years was that? I remember y'all sharing that information. It was like from this year to this year, if you have anything, right?
Yes. So it was during kind of like civil rights desegregation era, and living in the Black community in Texas City and just sharing their experiences. So we've got some really, really compelling oral histories that I'm going through right now and reviewing, and we're really excited to launch it this summer.
Where will you be able to access or search and get that info?
Yeah, so it's going to be available through the library's website. It's going to be a linked platform. Not to get too technical, but we use something called Omeka that is built for this purpose to be a digital repository for institutions. And so that platform is going to be linked to our website, and you'll be able to access it directly or through the library's website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have y'all, I guess, kept contact with those people to let them know, like, hey, this is whenever you're going to be able to access this information?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're still in touch with them, because as you go through these, as you do the oral histories and you go through and review, you might want to make sure that you have the transcriptions right and the spelling of the names right, or if you want to ask for a little bit more detail, just to kind of add things to enrich the oral history and people's interaction with it. So yeah, we're in constant contact with the participants.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, but sometimes I have issues remembering what happened like last week. Like my story gets changed a little bit. I mean, whenever it comes to that information so long ago, do y'all how does that go? I guess, do y'all verify it, or?
So there's a kind of a process that we do. So we find people who are interested in participating in the program, and we meet with them several times before we actually sit down to record the oral history. And what those sit downs do is kind of discuss the nature of the topics that we're going to cover. And that gives the participants time to kind of go back in time and think back to those points in their life: early childhood, young adulthood. What was it like when I was in school? What were like defining moments in my life? Who were defining people in my life? Who did I look up to? What did I aspire to at a young age? What did I experience in real life as well? And they get a chance to kind of go through pictures and think back, like, oh, I remember these people. Oh, I remember going to this school. I remember this store. I remember this street. Like that's where I spent all my life, for so many years. And so we give them time to kind of go back through history in their mind, and that prepares them to sit down and really answer those questions. And the oral histories are designed to be open-ended questions. So we lead off with a question like, can you tell us about where you grew up in Texas City? I mean, that's a really open-ended question, right? And so then they say, oh, yes, I lived on Algeria Street, and I went to Lake Road Elementary. And then they start and from there it leads them to, oh, I remember this time in second grade and this teacher, and we used to, go play on Jackson Street, and it was just, me and my whole crew of friends, and this is how we experienced life at that time. And you'd be impressed and surprised by how long those answers can be and how like rich and full of detail they are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this summer that should be open and
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're aiming for June.
Cool.
We're aiming for June, and we'll give like an official announcement the closer we get to it. So me and Teresa, our local history librarian, and then also our local history assistant, Brenda, we're really working hard to go through these oral histories, make sure everything's ready, and then we're going to put them up on a special platform designed for oral histories where the transcription rolls with the video and the audio, so you can really like follow closely along.
So I know this project hasn't been completed and released yet, but is there already plans for another time period or anything else in the works?
And so when I was the local history librarian back in 2018, I did a Vietnam veterans oral history project where I spoke to about 7 or 8 veterans in the Galveston County area, and those oral histories have been transcribed, and we are aiming for a release date later this year, about November, in time for like Veterans Day. And so getting those on the digital archive is very important as well.
I guess for you personally, or maybe just in general with librarians, are y'all like, I guess, very calculated? Is it relieving to see a project come to close, and how fulfilling is that to see that?
Absolutely, because for like an oral history project, what we have to do is like, first we come up with the idea, right? Like what are we missing in our collection, and whose voices need to be a part of the historical narrative for Texas City and Galveston County. And so then you identify specific communities, and then you have to go through and kind of assess, okay, what questions, what sort of information and memories can they share with us that we don't currently have? And then you refer to other projects of similar topics and kind of aggregate questions and how did they do their marketing? How did they reach out to the community? What would be the best way? Who are prominent community members that we can reach out to that would help us facilitate this and reach even more people than if we do it by ourselves? Because libraries like to partner with community groups, and really have them work together to make projects happen. And so then you talk to people, make sure they're comfortable with it, answer all of their questions, then you go through, meet with them, talk about the topics that'll be discussed. What do they want to talk about? What do they not want to talk about? And then you actually then we do all of the back end stuff like transcription and subject analysis, and then we have to get it up on the digital archive. And I mean, these things take years.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like digitally archiving stuff, I think y'all digitally archive like current things, right? Like what was it like, right now, like in Texas City?
And perspective is recorded and
whatever. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's one of the archives with older items have newspaper clippings. They've got diaries. They've got like Bibles that people scribble that use as scrapbooks and things like that. That's like everyday ephemera that gives you an idea of daily life.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty cool. It was cool. That's what I figured. I was like, man, I bet I'm 100% documented everything in 2020, or even like, hey, the library's looking at this, and in adult programs, there's something about a community health fair. What's going on there?
Oh, yes. So we are really excited to partner with the Galveston County Health District for a community health fair that'll be on June 11th. That's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're going to be providing health screenings, answering your questions about a variety of services that are available through Galveston County, and just trying to share information on how to keep yourself healthy, free information and free access to services down Saturday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the library to really just get more information about how to stay healthy, how to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and these are things that y'all would, regularly do. as well, these events.
Yeah, and so that's what's exciting is like using the Beanstack app, record your hours reading. Every 5 hours or 30 books read for children under the age of 12, you'll receive a book prize, and you can receive up to 10 free books from the library.
That's cool.
For teens, for the first 10 hours read, they get a free book, and then for every 10 hours read after that, they get entered into a prize drawing for a gift card from a local eatery. I know in the past we've done gift cards from Good Dough Kolaches, Hey Mikey's Ice Cream. So, and I think it's called Big Phil's.
Yeah,
Creole?
Big Phil's,
Yeah.
Soul and Creole.
There you go. Yeah, and so really good stuff. And we try to keep it local, support local business. And same thing for adults. Every 10 hours read gets you an entry into the prize drawing. And then if you read 50 hours, while supplies last, we'll be giving out mini book lights so you can read in the dark.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to getting one of those.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, it's necessary.
Absolutely. I mean, I know ebooks exist, but sometimes you're just reading in the dark. You just want to read a good book in the dark, low light. Hey, why not?
Yeah, instead of staring at your phone screen and everything else.
Yeah, give your eyes a break.
Yeah, I have my phone setting where it's supposed to, and I'm taking its word for it. It's like, oh, at 9 p.m. it switches to like less blue light or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is.
And
I don't know if it works.
And then you're like, wow, I really can't see.
Yeah, I know. Like, and then I turn the brightness up. It's like, this is terrible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm laying in bed, just like my phone's keeping me awake, and I'm like, I wake up, and I'm like, why am I so tired? Oh yeah, yeah.
It's an endless cycle.
It is. It is. Cool. Is there anything else you would like to share this morning?
Well, I'm just hoping that people know that we are open. Whether or not you come to a children's or teens program, we have our meeting rooms are open for nonprofit organizations or study groups. You can call the library and schedule to come in and use one of our brand new meeting rooms. I mean, you can connect your computer to the screen, and we've got whiteboards, really nice tables, plenty of chairs for you to gather and study or meet with your group. Our computers are open. All 20 computers are open. We've got new seating areas. Really, if you haven't seen the library lately, come in and check it out. It's colorful, it's bright, and it's ready for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
And you'll have to come back soon.
Oh,
Whenever.
we'll be
anytime.
back.
This is KHEA Radio.